Amrit, do you reckon with, so is it to start from there, possibly the people, the youth, as Mr. Nityanand is saying, to engineer a larger change, or possibly work from the top, which is to engineer a strong environment policy?
I think it's very important to start at the grassroots level, to begin the education, to bring in the awareness now. A small example is the use of plastic bags and plastic straws. I'm sorry, Ma, if you're watching this live, but my mother is an educated woman. But still, when I tell her don't take plastic bags, just take plastic cloth, it still doesn't hit her. So I think now the youth have to be made aware of it, made aware of the adversities of environment pollution. So I think it has to start at the grassroots level, and when the youth are aware of it, and I think like there will be a movement. Like Nityanand said, there have been efforts to get corporates and industries to do something about this, but there's like the court only looks at they look at the big polluters and the small polluters in a different way. So I think the change has to start from the grassroots level, from the common man, to be made more aware of it.
So corporate social responsibility, Mr. Nityanand, like in Delhi now we've had Starbucks move on to paper straws, or they ask you whether you want a plastic cup.
No, I think corporate social responsibility is an oxymoron. Corporations are an artificial, it's a legal construct. Responsibility is a very human thing. And so it's just like saying, does this wall have responsibility? It does not. So a corporation, I'm not saying corporations are bad or good. A good corporation is a corporation that makes a lot of money for its shareholders. Its job is not to build toilets in the villages. That is for my government to do, and I'll make them do it. As far as Starbucks giving plastic and paper straws, that is the superficiality of environment as we understand it. I mean, you have an entirely exploitative engine that finally gives you your environmental karma by sipping it out of a paper straw instead of a plastic straw. This kind of sipping is not going to get us out of the environmental. So? No. I think you can carry all the jholas that you want, all the plastic paper straws, and ride a bicycle to hell. I think what we're talking about is there's something called the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. On 8th of October, they released a shattering report which sunk like a stone in the Indian media. And that report basically gives us 12 years. This is the world's top scientists have told us you have 12 years to get your act together. 2 years to decide whether you want to do it or not. And in that 12 years, if you don't radically change, which means that virtually every single coal-fired power plant that we propose to build right now should not be built. Cannot be built. If you do not commit to that kind of a change, cataclysmic climate change and its effects are almost certain. And here we are trying to figure out whether we really think it's a good idea to replace plastic straws with paper straws.
Fair enough. So there is, a very myopic way that possibly most of us look at the environment, most of us know, because I would reckon if you think that you're using a plastic bag, and I'll bring you in, Mr. Vishwanath, on that, or you're doing away with your plastic, or you're picking away the plastic from the beach, you've dealt with the plastic, but you quite haven't dealt with that plastic, have you?
Well, you haven't. So here's the tough act, and as much as my friends love activism and they have faith in the youth, the thing that we need to do is to build institutions. Build institutions which are responsible at levels and scales at which they can act. There's a missing gap between politics and the people, which are institutions. And we had sorted that out in the 20th century.
So do you think somewhere down the line we are basically shifting the onus of responsibility on our politicians?
No, we have to find and get our politicians to build the right institutions. I'll just give you an example. In the 20th century, we built very good water utilities like the Delhi Jal Board or the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board, which got water to our cities and gave and delivered that water, right? Through long distance pipes and large dams and all that. Now, we need 21st century institutions. We do not have those institutions. We do not have those institutions capacitated to be able to understand and address the problem in the right way. Solid waste management is a classic example. It's being addressed by local governments who simply don't have the skill set or the ability to deal with the problem. And we've been breaking our heads for the last 20 years. So it's not a matter of cleaning up a plastic bag. It's about getting all those plastic bags cleaned by an institution or not delivered in the market by an appropriate institution. That institution should also be accountable. What we now face are institutions which are, there's nobody you find accountable for the pollution of the Ganga, for example. Who's responsible for the Ganga, which is this iconic river that we've been trying to clean for the last
Which has gotten only dirtier.
Yes. So where is the institution? So we need something like a river basin institution, which is capacitated with hydrologists, hydrogeologists, social people, and people from ecological backgrounds into them. And finally, we need transparency among these institutions to put the figures and data before us, for us to understand as people as to what we need to pressurize the politicians to do. Right now, there's a complete absence of data. We know, for example, that there's so much carbon in the atmosphere, but what do we do about it? I mean, who are the institutions accountable for that 2-year window of opportunity that we have?